Hello, and welcome to the video tutorial for the application editor for the admin panel. This application editor is a text editor, more specifically an IDE, that is used for editing JSON, a file format often used for saving data. This is the IDE window. It is where you can make all your changes. The IDE window is just like any other IDE as it uses the web-compatible ACE editor. The window is resizable, scrollable, and has support for many keyboard shortcuts. On the bottom left, you will see a Save button. This will save the data to the server and it will make the changes to the tests. You can also use Ctrl+S to save. For the sake of presentation, I will be using Visual Studio Code, but the principles should be the exact same on the application editor. In JSON, we have things called blocks. The top block here is the application. This is the check mark that shows up on the main page. This is the specific job they are applying to. An example would be irrigation. The sub-object of the application is the test. This is referring to the often multiple quizzes the user must take when applying to that job. This could be things like knowledge on timers, sprinklers, or fittings in the context of irrigation. This is the question matrix, which contains lines representing questions. These lines are the questions. Inside are answers. On the very left part of this question is a number. This number is the time in which the user is given. This allows you to control the amount of time given per question, offering flexibility for more difficult questions that might need time or easier ones that would need less. The second parameter is the correct answer to the questions. After that is the wrong answer. You can have as many of these as you would like. There isn't a limit on length. Only the first two parameters are necessary for the question to function. Let's add our own question to the test. Blocks in JSON are separated by commas. Since we are making a new block, we would need to Ctrl+C just to copy it, put a comma as we are making a new block, and Ctrl+V. This comma is necessary to separate it, because if it doesn't, then the compiler screams at us. We have made our own question. If you use this on the web page, it will work just fine. However, you might want information related to timers and irrigation to be something other than correct answer, wrong answer 1, wrong answer 2, etc. Let's do some configuring. Let's give them 15 seconds for this question. And then here we can put our correct answer. And since the length of the wrong answers is variable, we can go ahead and just delete this one. Now this will work. And do not worry about randomizing where the correct answer is. You always want it to be in the first one, and the code will automatically randomize it for you. You can only ever have one question matrix within a test. However, you can have multiple tests within an application, as well as multiple applications just in general. Let's make another test. Again, putting a comma as we are separating a block. As you can see, it will say duplicate object key. That's because these are called keys. That being said, objects have keys. These are the keys. Once we get rid of this, it will no longer scream at us. Let's change this to something else. Let's change it to sprinklers. Here we are in the question matrix. We've already covered this. Let's just keep it like this, maybe change the amount of time to 5 seconds. This is not a realistic time to answer a question, but it is often used for testing purposes, by me at least. Now that we've covered tests, we can move on to applications. Much like tests, these aren't really all that different. Put a comma to separate it, of course. You're also going to need to give it its own object key. We can name the test that. Why not? Oh, and as you can see here, also do not worry, in the web application it does show this as well. It will tell you when you are doing something wrong, such as this extra comma being here from when we deleted all the other things. These things are bound to happen in JSON, but the compiler will tell you, so it's not a big deal. And now that we have all of our JSON, we would just do Control S to save, or hit the button, assuming that we were on the website. We would click this. And also, if the file is edited externally, as in from not the application editor, just refresh the page and it will update. As you can see here, it updated to what we put in Visual Studio. Now, if we go to the CLCI interview process and we refresh, we can see that it automatically put our applications, being irrigation and mowing. And of course, I can apply to these. And as you can see here, automatically gave us 15 seconds of time for the mowing, and it will automatically do everything for us. There are still bugs in the system, which will be squashed over time, but this process will not change, most likely. So that concludes the application editor tutorial for the admin panel.